I am Dr. Bhagyashree, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Pharmacology, Yenepoya Medical College. The topic I am going to discuss in this lecture is chelating agents. So at the end of this lecture, we should be able to appreciate the concept of a chelating agent. We'll know what is a chelating agent, we'll understand the concept, describe the mechanism of action of a chelating agent, and enumerate its uses, adverse effects and contraindications associated with the following chelating agents, that is dimercaprol, succimer, unithiol, disodium calcium editate, dipenicillamine, trientine, desferrioxamine, deferriprone, deferasirox and Prussian blue. Okay, coming to the introduction. So basically a chelating agent is used in the management of heavy metal poisoning. So it is derived from the Greek word that is chel, which means crab. So basically these drugs, they form complex with the metallic ions, that is heavy metals ions, and they form a complex and to form a stable water soluble compound which can be easily excreted in urine. So they contain two or more reactive groups which can combine with the heavy metal and form a ring structure. So before knowing the mechanism of action, how does heavy metal they alter the function, biological function in the body. So the heavy metal, they bind with and inactivate the functional group of enzymes or other biomolecules. They combine with reactive groups, that is oxygen or nitrogen or sulfur containing groups of biological body ligands, and they hamper the physiological function and cause enzyme inhibition and oxidative stress. So these chelating agents, they compete with body ligands and they bind with the heavy metals. Instead of, so when you give chelating agents, instead of this body ligands, these chelating agents will bind, these heavy metals will bind with the chelating agents. So this metallic ion and chelating agent, they bind, form a complex, so that will be easily excreted in urine. So the ligands are spared and there is no alteration of physiological function. So efficacy is high when given within a small period of time. Efficacy decreases as time increases. So following are the examples: dimercaprol or known as British anti-levisite, dimercaptosuccinic acid also known as succimer, dimercaptopropane sulfonic acid, unithiol, disodium calcium editate, dipenicillamine, trientine, desferrioxamine, deferriprone, deferasirox and Prussian blue. So we'll talk about each of these in brief. So first one is dimercaprol, also known as British anti-levisite, that is BAL. So it is developed by British as an antidote for arsenical Vargas levisite, hence the name British anti-levisite. So it is used for metals interacting with sulfhydryl containing enzymes. So these are arsenic, mercury, gold, bismuth, nickel, antimony and copper. So 2:1 complex is more stable. It is partially oxidized. So uses of dimercaprol used in the poisoning of arsenic, mercury, gold, bismuth, nickel, antimony. So dose is given 5 mg per kg stat intramuscular route followed by 2 to 3 milligram per kg every 4 to 8 hours for 2 days, then twice a day for 10 days. So we have to remember that the complex of this chelating agent, that is dimercaprol with the metal, okay, that complex dissociates in acidic urine, so we have to maintain the urine alkalinized so that it can be easily excreted. Other uses: lead poisoning used as an adjuvant, okay, not as a first line, so as an adjuvant to calcium disodium editate. Then copper poisoning and Wilson's disease also, it can be used as adjuvant to penicillamine, but it is contraindicated in iron and cadmium poisoning because it becomes a toxic compound. Adverse effects are rise in blood pressure, tachycardia, vomiting, tingling and burning sensations, inflammation of mucous membranes, sweating, cramps, headache and anxiety. So to reduce these symptoms, antihistamines can be given. Second one, Suxaimer. It is a structural analog of dimercaprol, so used in the management of arsenic, mercury and lead poisoning. It can also chelate essential metals like copper and zinc also. So side effects include nausea, anorexia and loose motions. So next is Unithiol. It is a structural analog of dimercaprol. So it is available in oral and IV route. They are water soluble, used in severe acute poisoning by inorganic mercury and arsenic and also lead poisoning. It is given in the dose of 3 to 5 mg per kg every 4 hours, IV infusion over 20 minutes, then switched over to oral route, that is at a dose of 4 to 8 mg per kg 6th to 8th hourly. So there are some adverse effects like mild urticaria which can be self-limiting, but rapid IV infusion can cause vasodilatation and hypotension. Next is disodium calcium editate. It has high affinity for lead, zinc, cadmium, manganese, copper and certain radioactive metals. So it removes the metals by exchanging with calcium. So this is highly ionized. It is not metabolized. It is excreted in urine by glomerular filtration. So it is usually parenterally administered. So in parenteral route, IV is preferred because IM injections are extremely painful. It does not enter brain. So uses, so main use is lead poisoning. So 1 gram is diluted to 200 ml or to 300 ml in saline or glucose solution and infused IV over 1 hour twice daily for 3 to 5 days. And second course after 5 to 7 days. Also used in iron, zinc, copper, manganese and radioactive metal poisoning, but not used in mercury poisoning. So adverse effects, kidney damage it can cause, that is proximal tubular necrosis, which is dose related. So maintain high urinary flow to prevent kidney damage. Then acute febrile reaction like chills, body ache, malaise and tiredness. An anaphylactic reaction, that is fall in blood pressure, congestion of eyes and nose also can occur. Next chelating agent is D-penicillamine. So it is also known as dimethylcysteine. So it is produced as a degradation product of penicillin, that is antibiotic. So D-penicillamine is a degradation product of penicillin. So it has a strong copper chelating property. So mainly used in copper poisoning, also used in mercury, lead and zinc poisoning. So there are two isomers for penicillamine, that is D-penicillamine and L-penicillamine. So D isomer is the one which is used as chelating agent, which has a therapeutic use. So L isomer, that is L-penicillamine, is toxic and can cause optic neuritis. So D-penicillamine is the one used as chelating agent. So it is orally absorbed, metabolized and excreted in urine and feces. So uses, so mainly Wilson's disease, also known as hepatolenticular degeneration. So Wilson's disease is a genetic disorder where the body is not able to metabolize and remove copper from the body. So normal amount of copper also can cause toxicity of copper. So in those patients it is required. So 0.5 to 1 gram in divided doses. It is 1 hour before or 2 hours after meals. So regular meals also can cause copper accumulation. So to prevent that, it is given before or after meal. So other uses, copper poisoning, mercury poisoning 1 to 1.5 gram per day. Or chronic lead poisoning also it can be given, even though Suxaimer is the first choice. Then cystinuria and cystine stones and scleroderma are the other uses. So adverse effects, it can cause cutaneous reactions, itching, febrile episodes, and in kidney it can cause hematuria, blood in urine, proteinuria and renal impairment. And hematological adverse effects are bone marrow suppression and collagen tissue toxicity. Next drug is triantine, also known as triethylene tetramine dihydrochloride. So it is a less toxic alternative to penicillamine. So it can also be used for copper poisoning as an alternative to penicillamine. So dose is 1 gram BD on an empty stomach. So adverse effect is iron deficiency, which is more common. So to prevent that, you can give a short course iron therapy during and after therapy. So next drug, desferrioxamine. So it is produced from a compound known as ferrioxamine. So ferrioxamine is a long chain iron containing complex which is obtained from an actinomycete organism. So desferrioxamine is prepared or produced from ferrioxamine by chemically removing iron from ferrioxamine. Hence the name desferrioxamine, which does not contain iron. So this has very high affinity to iron. So it can be used in iron poisoning. So it removes loosely bound iron and also iron from ferritin and hemosiderin, but not iron from hemoglobin. It has very low affinity to calcium and orally less absorption, so parenteral it is preferred. So desferrioxamine is given by parenteral route, IV, subcutaneous or intramuscular. So it is metabolized and rapidly excreted in urine. Uses: acute iron poisoning, given in the dose of 50 mg per kg intramuscular and repeated 4 to 12 hourly as required. Yes, then transfusion siderosis is the next use. So in thalassemia patients, it is common that patients receive repeated blood transfusion, which can cause an iron overload, which is known as transfusion siderosis. So in that patient also you can give desferrioxamine to prevent iron overload along with blood transfusion. So adverse effects, it can cause histamine release, so which causes fall in blood pressure, flushing, itching, urticaria and rashes, abdominal pain, loose motion, muscle cramps, fever and dysuria. Next, again it is used for iron poisoning, that is deferiprone. So it is orally active unlike desferrioxamine. So this is an orally active iron chelator. So less effective compared to desferrioxamine, but it is better tolerated. So uses again same, transfusion siderosis and removal of iron overload in hepatic cirrhosis. Dose 50 to 100 milligram per kg per day in 2 to 4 divided doses. So adverse effects: anorexia, vomiting, altered taste, joint pain and neutropenia, which can be reversed. Deferasirox, another orally active iron chelator. It can lower serum ferritin and hepatic iron concentration. So it is used in chronic iron overload, that is repeated blood transfusion and thalassemia. It is well absorbed orally, so once daily dosing will be sufficient. So adverse effects: nausea, epigastric pain, headache, pruritus, rashes, etc. It is given in the dose of 20 milligram per kg per day on empty stomach. So these are the chelating agents used in iron poisoning. Next is Prussian blue, also known as ferric hexacyanoferrate. So it is as you can see in the picture, it is a blue colored dye which is discovered in 1704. It was used by artists. So oral Prussian blue is used in the treatment of contamination with radioactive cesium, that is cesium-137, and non-radioactive thallium. So it traps the metals in intestine and prevents their reabsorption from GIT. So it binds with these metals, cesium and non-radioactive thallium, and so prevents the reabsorption from GIT, and so that these metals are excreted in feces. So it reduces the half-life of cesium-137 from 110 days to 30 days and of thallium from 9 days to 3 days. So they are easily and more effectively excreted. So dose 3 gram orally thrice daily. So duration of treatment depends upon fecal radioactivity. So till there is less fecal radioactivity, this drug has to be given. That is fecal radioactivity of cesium-137, and thallium, since it is non-radioactive, you have to monitor thallium concentration in urine. So adverse effect, it is constipation. So this concludes my topic, chelating agents. So chelating agents are the drugs basically used in the management of heavy metal poisoning. So they bind, they have reactive groups, they bind with the metal and form a ring structure and form a complex. So that complex is easily excreted. So they remove heavy metals from the body. So that heavy metals won't be able to bind to the functional groups and alter the biological activity of the body. So drug metal complex are more water soluble. So this water soluble compound is easily excreted through urine. So thank you. These are my references, and thank you.